Quanta South Municipal Assembly, in collaboration with RegSec and MUSEC, has banned all public gatherings during the Christmas and New Year festivities due to ongoing security concerns. The directive covers church conventions, religious services and all public events across the municipality. Municipal Chief Executive Joseph Anchi Awol said the move is to prevent unrest and protect lives and property, noting that residents have faced disrupted Christmas celebrations for 4 consecutive years because of insecurity. He assured residents that security agencies will remain on high alert, with intensified patrols, especially after curfew hours, and warned that loitering would attract legal action. Mr. Awol also urged drivers, commercial motorbike riders and residents to remain vigilant and avoid activities that could threaten the current calm. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ine, has announced that the state will prosecute Wantumi Farms and its directors over alleged financial crimes involving the Ghana Export-Import Bank, EXIM Bank. Speaking in Accra on Monday, December 22, Dr. Ine said investigations by the Economic and Organized Crime Office (EOCO) have established sufficient evidence to support charges of defrauding by false pretenses, forgery, and causing financial loss to the state. The alleged loss currently stands at GHS 24,255,735, including accrued interest, and could increase before charges are filed. Dr. Ine said prosecution will begin after the Christmas break, once EXIM Bank confirms the final outstanding amount. The case stems from a loan transaction involving Wantumi Farms, linked to Ashanti Regional NPP Chairman Bernard Anchi Bosiako, also known as Chairman Wantumi. According to the Attorney General, the company allegedly secured a GHS 4 million loan using a forged document. Investigators found that a proforma invoice from Kasama Enterprise for heavy-duty equipment was altered to appear as a receipt and submitted as proof of payment. Kasama Enterprise later confirmed that no payment was made and the transaction was never completed. A temporary power outage has affected parts of Greater Kumasi after a minor fault was detected at the Ghana Grid Company, GRIDCO, on Sunday. The fault reduced electricity supply to the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, leading to outages in several communities. In a notice, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly said technical teams from GRIDCO and ECG are working to restore power as quickly as possible. Security patrols have been intensified in affected areas, and residents have been urged to remain calm as repairs continue. The Assembly apologized for the inconvenience and thanked the public for their patience. U.S. President Donald Trump has recalled the American ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, along with nearly 30 other career ambassadors worldwide, as part of efforts to realign U.S. diplomacy with his America First agenda. The move, first reported by Politico, affects ambassadors appointed under the Joe Biden administration, who are expected to end their postings in January. A State Department official said the diplomats are not being dismissed and may take up other roles within the Foreign Service. Africa is the most affected region, with ambassadors recalled from 13 countries, including Nigeria, Burundi, Cameroon, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, and Uganda. Other recalls span parts of Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas. The State Department described the move as a routine process, noting that ambassadors serve as personal representatives of the president and must align with his policy priorities. The reshuffle is expected to cause adjustments in embassy operations, and some lawmakers and diplomats have raised concerns about possible disruptions. In Nigeria, Ambassador Mills' departure comes at a sensitive time, as the country remains a key U.S. partner on security, economic cooperation and development, making the choice of his successor closely watched. The Women in Maritime and Energy (WIME) Awards has praised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for appointing Aritsamaiwa Isan as Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, describing the decision as historic and inspiring. In a statement, WIME chairperson Kazoba Anyika said Isan's appointment reflects progress in inclusive leadership and expressed confidence that she will strengthen upstream regulation. Isan becomes the first woman to head Nigeria's upstream petroleum regulator. WIME highlighted her over 30 years' experience at the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, where she retired as Executive Vice President, Upstream, and noted her role in resolving the Escravos gas-to-liquids dispute. The group called for greater opportunities for women in leadership and pledged continued support for gender inclusion in the maritime and energy sectors. Dangote Group President Aliko Dangote has given Kaduna-based businessman Kailani Muhammad a 7-day ultimatum to retract alleged defamatory remarks or face a 100 billion Nigerian Nairas lawsuit. In a letter sent through his lawyer, Agwu James Anoja, SAN, Dangote demanded a public retraction and apology over comments made by Muhammad during a Trust TV interview, where he questioned the source of Dangote's wealth and alleged involvement in unclean business in Port Harcourt in the 1980s. Dangote's legal team described the claims as false and malicious, insisting he never conducted business in Port Harcourt. The letter said the remarks were intended to damage his reputation and business interests. Dangote is demanding a full retraction, a public apology with equal prominence to the interview, and 100 billion Nigerian nairas in damages, warning that failure to comply within 7 days will result in a defamation lawsuit. Togo has reached a key milestone in the construction of its future ministerial complex in Lomé with the signing of a formal agreement between the state and the PFO Group, Pierre Fakuri operator. The ceremony, held on December 17, 2025, clears the way for the start of construction. Minister of Economy and Finance Georges So Barcola said the project is strategic for modernizing public administration and supporting Lomé's urban growth by providing a modern and efficient working environment for government institutions. The project will be executed through a public-private partnership under a build-lease arrangement. Under this model, the state provides the land in Bikleva, Golfi 3, while PFO finances, builds, operates and maintains the complex before transferring it to the state at the end of the lease period. PFO is implementing the project through its subsidiary, the Ministerial Complex Construction Company, SOCASIM, with financing support from several regional banks, including BOAD, which has already approved 20 billion CFA francs. The complex will consist of 18 buildings, 8 towers and 10 low-rise structures, covering about 90,000 square meters, with over 900 parking spaces. It is expected to accommodate several ministries and more than 4,500 civil servants. Construction is scheduled to be completed within 36 months. In Togo, the tax administration and private sector began direct talks in Lomé last week to foster cooperation and mutual understanding. The meeting, led by Minister of Economy and Finance Georges Barcola, brought together the Commissioner General of the Togolese Revenue Office, OTR, Yawit Sigan, and leaders of the National Employers Council, CNP, and the Association of Large Enterprises of Togo, AGT, Laurent Tamagnon and Jonas Dow. Discussions addressed tax legislation, audit procedures, tax pressure, and measures to improve efficiency and revenue mobilization. Barcola emphasized the goal of resolving misunderstandings and building a genuine partnership with economic operators. The initiative follows recommendations from Agit's white paper, which noted misinterpretations of tax laws and reforms implemented without consultation. The minister highlighted that from 2026, a new era of dialogue will begin, recognizing the private sector as a key driver of national economic growth and employment. The West African Development Bank, BOAD, closed 2025 with cumulative financing of 9,916.6 billion CFA francs since 1976, confirmed at its 149th board meeting in Lomé on December 18. The board approved 6 new operations worth 75 billion CFA francs for 2026, targeting key sectors such as roads, industry, agriculture, energy, vocational training, and SME support. Projects include a cashew processing complex in Guinea-Bissau, road works in Burkina Faso, an electronics assembly plant in Benin, and agricultural training facilities in Senegal. Additional guarantees were granted for energy projects in Côte d'Ivoire, and BOAD increased equity in the Chorus 4 Fund for SME financing across WAMU. For Togo, BOAD approved reallocating resources under the emergency program to strengthen resilience in the Savanes region, PURS, originally financed at 30 billion CFA francs in 2023. The initiative aims to improve northern communities' access to rural roads, electricity, water, and agricultural infrastructure, enhancing sustainable local resilience. Iran has stated that its missile program is purely defensive and not open to negotiation. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Esmail Bagui emphasized that the missiles protect Iran's territory and sovereignty, rejecting Western calls to limit the program. He criticized what he called political pressure exploiting the missile issue while ignoring weapons supplied to Israel and regional allies. Bagui stressed that Iran's missile capabilities are deterrence and a key part of national defense. He also denied supplying missiles or drones for the Russia-Ukraine war, calling such claims unfounded. The spokesperson accused Israel and the US of leading an Iranophobia campaign to weaken Tehran and justify hostile actions, while noting Iran continues to cooperate with the IAEA under its non-proliferation treaty obligations despite alleged Western obstruction. US and Ukrainian officials described recent talks in Miami as constructive, though no major breakthrough was achieved. Donald Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Ukraine's lead negotiator, Rustem Umerov, said discussions focused on a 20-point plan, security guarantees for Ukraine, and long-term economic recovery. Parallel meetings between U.S. officials and Russia's envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, were also held. Witkoff said Moscow remains interested in pursuing peace, but core disputes, including Russia's territorial claims, continue to stall progress. The Miami talks follow leaked U.S. peace proposals that raised concern in Kyiv and Europe. Meanwhile, fighting persists. A Ukrainian drone strike recently damaged 2 ships and piers in Russia's Krasnodar region, though all crew were safely evacuated. Two U.S. Congress members, Republican Thomas Massie and Democrat Ro Khanna, have threatened legal action against Attorney General Pam Bondi after the Department of Justice failed to fully release files on the late financier Jeffrey Epstein. While some documents were made public, many were redacted or withheld, falling short of a November law mandating disclosure. Massie said Congress could use inherent contempt to penalize Bondi daily until compliance, a rarely used power not invoked in nearly a century. The DOJ maintains it is meeting legal obligations, while critics, including abuse survivors, say delays undermine accountability. Civilians in Myanmar's rebel-held regions are facing intensified airstrikes and military assaults as the junta pushes ahead with elections widely seen as illegitimate. Thousands have fled, including Iang Za Kim from Khaemul village in Chin State, who escaped the November attacks with her family, fearing forced participation in the vote. The offensive, the worst in over 3 years, has displaced families within Chin State and across the border into India. Schools, churches and hospitals have reportedly been targeted, resulting in civilian deaths, including children. Many residents, like Boi Nei Lien, have lost their homes multiple times due to airstrikes. The upcoming staged elections, from which the National League for Democracy is barred, are widely dismissed as a facade to entrench military rule. Resistance groups continue to clash with junta forces, supported by air attacks and drones. Civilians and fighters alike endure trauma and injuries, but many remain determined to resist and hope for a future free from military oppression.